podcast. Today is actually a special day because we are here at Grow Moringa Farms, and today is Moringa Fest. We're having a festival today. We have several members in the house. Thanks a lot. We have a live audience. Before we get started, I want to make sure real quick. Can you hear? We are here. Yes. Okay, we can hear. Sound is good. Thanks a lot. This week, if you text Big Tree this week, and we'll hook you up with a free big tree. We're going to draw it out of the hat. These are our big trees right now, looking real good. We'll put it in a box. It'll come right to you. It's got a nice root tuber. It's just like a carrot. Chomp right into it. And actually, you could dry it out, slice it up, and even powder it as a horseradish. This is a really great spice in itself. So either way, the tree will reproduce either a whole new stem, or even these are already sprouting from the stem. I can even see this has been sitting here for a few days and they're already sprouting. So we got lots of big trees here. Look at this one. Look at this one. Some of them, when I go out there, it's like, hey, you're supposed to be growing down. Why are you growing up like that? Right? So
what's the answer?
So what I would probably do with this one is, because this one is here like this, it's a small one, I would probably just go ahead and cut it right there. So that way this one ends up becoming more of a prominent as I put it back in the ground.
And then what do you do with what you cut off?
Oh, that one would probably just go in the field, fertilizer, it could go back in the ground and possibly start a new one. But for the most part, usually the sticks start new trees. It's tough for the actual root itself to start a new tree because it's like the difference between this material and this material. They're two different materials. Two different types of skin. Like, how we have skin on our lips versus skin on our face. These are two different types of skins. So it's like this is a different type of skin and this is a different type of skin. So
the root that you cut off, would it be too old to eat?
No, actually, this would be perfect because you just pull it out. As long as it's fresh, you can slice it up, and you could even chip it almost like a cassava. It's a real spicy cassava chip. You can even put it in the oven and bake it, but also dry it out and powder it as a powdered spice. Great questions. If anytime you guys have a question, don't hesitate to just ask. Today we have the oil machine on the table, and we've got a few other things on the table to share, and we have a nice list of things. But for now, we'll go ahead and announce the winners from last week. And also the members here. Oh, see, y'all put your papers real big, so that way I picked it, huh? That's why you wanted me to pick your stuff, so that way you had all the papers real big. All right, so we got a lot of names in the hat. Let's see here. Who's the winner from last week? So we got here. Oh, we got one here. Oh, look. Derek is the winner here for tea. Derek's going to get some tea. Who else we got here? Let's pick somebody else. Bum. Oh, here we go. Dan is also a tea winner. Let's see. And we'll even just do one more just because we like tea so much. We got a bunch of names in the head. Oh, got a big name here. Oh, we got a big name here. I know who this is. And this one is Darren. All right, Darren, all the way from New Jersey by way of California here today. Thanks for flying in all the way from New Jersey, hanging out. Darren actually has an operation that he's going to get going here in Liberia. So we're going to talk today. He had some really great questions about the design, the field, and the seeds and all that. So we'll get into some real great conversation about that. Well, thanks, team. Thanks for coming in. Let me make sure here we're on Do Not Disturb. So that way, if anybody calls, we're on Do Not Disturb. Oh, Debbie's here. Hey, welcome, Debbie. And thanks a lot. We are live. Welcome back here. Sona's here. Moni's here. Mano's here. Billy's here. Jackie's here. All right. Thanks a lot, y'all.
Which tea are they giving you, the box?
Yes, the tea box. So we got the tea box here. Throw me one so I can show everybody. Oh, yeah. Oh. All right. You can tell she has five sons. She's got a good arm. All right. So we've got tea here. Beautiful tea box. Nice and wrapped up. This was the secret. When my step granddad at 10 years old put $500 in a CD for me, I had a nice little retirement fund going for about 20 years. But then I said, you know what? After he gave me access to it, I turned 25 or so. I said, I really need a sealer machine. So thanks to that sealer machine over there, that's my retirement fund. There, that little blue machine right there, that's my retirement fund. And guess what? She's kicking it. She's pumping out lots of moolah because every day we can just wrap it up. And what a great investment. Thanks, Granddad. So one of the big questions that we had off first, and hopefully everything is welcome. Hey, someone is asking how to join the school. So just go to, thank you very much. I'll put in here text this week. This week is Big Tree to 813-696-6676 to win. This week we'll send out a big tree. We'll have a drawing next Saturday. And then someone here is asking how to join the school opportunity, and that's at growmoringa.com. So just go to growmoringa.com and you can get right in. We have a free trial right now, 7 days, test it out. I'm putting more and more things inside of the school app every single day. We have our wholesale sheet in there. We have our book in there right now. We have the ability for you to get listed on the Moringa map. We are a marketing and advertising agency for you, the members, to help you get a presence online. So today, after we finish the podcast, we're going to go through with all the members and we're going to have them download TikTok. I'm going to get on Whatnot while you guys are here. I'm going to go ahead and get on that. I'm going to get on a new app myself. And that way we can kind of overcome this uncomfortable feeling that we have with technology and tech together to go ahead and get on a YouTube, get our YouTube channel started. Because if you have a Gmail, you can have a YouTube channel. And if they have a video, if anything, we'll go out and make a quick video and we'll all upload our first YouTube video together. And something that we can do that's very, very easy. We want to help inspire all generations to tap into this great opportunity that we have to make some extra income from just creating community online. And that's what we've done. Look at what we've done to bring all of you together here today, just from getting out there, making content, and talking about the things that we love, like Moringa. And the members made a request today to want to talk about the oil machine. So I have a nice big oil machine right here. See, boom, I'm doing my workouts. So we've got our oil machine. At least I want you to see it. Here it is. There's the big one. This is the commercial one. There's a way to feed it at the top, and then the oil pretty much just drips out off the bottom. It's essentially like an auger. This one is the big commercial one. Yeah, we just drop seeds right in the top, and then essentially there's a mechanism there that presses the seeds into a very, very nice oil. So we'll get in real quick and I'll tell you a little bit about what happens after the seeds go down into the bowl. So you want to have a bowl. And then I have something up here. Let's see if I can find something up here. I have them right up here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So what happens is, essentially, when you press the seeds, you're pressing all of the organic matter into this machine. What comes out the back end of this is called cake. We call that fertilizer cake. Do you guys want to bring in a chair? Did you want to bring in a chair, Jesse? You want to come in here? You want to bring a chair? Bring a chair? Yeah. I think okay. Good. Oh. Yeah, no worries. We got plenty of chairs. Okay. Hang out. Yeah. No worries. Yeah, no problem. So, because it's really interesting to know that you can make your own oil from seeds. We usually take a couple thousand seeds and press them in the machine. So now what we've begun to do is peel the shell off and press the seed without the shell. And that produces a lighter, more cosmetic grade for shampoos and soaps and salves and lip balms and things like that. So that way it doesn't have as much of a darker color. But personally, myself, I honestly love the taste and the dark, rich color and feeling of a seed that's pressed with the shell. And so we have options for a little bit of both. So we can have small batches with the shell. We can also get large batches of seeds that have already been shelled, and then just drop those in the machine, and it comes out a lot lighter for cosmetic grade. So what's going to happen is at the bottom of the machine, everything gets dumped to a bowl, right? And then you're left with a muck, like a mud. You know, it's really mushy and muddy, and it's wet, and it kind of looks like this. So you can see here, that's kind of what it looks like. It's kind of like a muck. That's pretty much all the cake and everything at the bottom of the machine. So you can see here, I'll show you guys. You can see that. It's just kind of like a muck. Here. All right. So that's kind of like a little mucky oil there that ends up coming at the bottom of the machine. And then over about a week or so, put a lid on it, right? In about a week or so, you've got the oil that settles to the top and the muck goes to the bottom. So then you pour that off and you let that settle for another week. And then you can pour that off, and now you've got a finished product. So it takes about 2 weeks of settling from the time that you press it in the machine to where you have the first muck is a body scrub. It's rough. It's like sandpaper. It's something for the backside and for big say pimples and acne, and it helps to exfoliate, you know, parts of the tough parts of the skin. Then you have the second settle, which is a lot finer, thinner of a spread, and that's much more of the face scrub. So you've got the first press. Well, it's all the first press, but essentially the first settle is going to be a body butter, a body scrub. Then the second settle is going to be a face scrub. And then what's left over after about the third week, after separating it, and then finally at the end, you have a really nice, clear, golden oil. So it takes a couple weeks from the time that you press it, get a machine like this, and you'll be able to have your very own moringa oil. Now, when I started getting my machine going about 8 years ago or so, when I got the smaller machine that's in there, I was like just pressing all night and having to just feed this thing all night. I'm like 7, 8 hours later. I'm like, come on, what am I do? So I built a hopper on top of this, a wooden hopper on top of it with a auger that helps to force and push those seeds down in there faster, so that way I can dump 50,000 seeds versus 500 seeds in the course of an 8-hour, 6-hour session. So, you know, you can go through a couple movies and just kind of hang out, or a couple podcasts and hang out on wherever you can. And that's kind of just how I pass my time a lot of times. It's just spending the day making oil. Honestly, it's like we're going to make oil today because in 2 weeks we're going to hit the market with a gallon of oil. You know, we're going to make a couple $1,000s off of selling little drams and 1-ounce bottles. So the question that we keep getting asked today is, what about drumsticks? You know, what are you doing about drumsticks? And I say, you know, for myself, I don't really have a lot of drumsticks on my trees because I'm focusing on making income from the leaves and the loose leaf. But we have some examples of drumsticks. I'll get some drumsticks so you guys can see. I don't know if you saw what they look like earlier. I'll just grab them real quick. We got them right here in this bin here. So we got some drumsticks here. These are actually from local trees we've harvested. Thank you. And so they're here, like this here. is kind of like a drumstick here. That's kind of like what the drumstick looks like when it comes off the tree. And then you open it up and it's got the seeds inside. So these little chambers in here hold the seed. So you get about 20 or so seeds. What's cool is that when this is young and green on the tree, you can pull it off and chop it and cook it, and it's a very, very valuable soup, like a potato. You see the starch on the inside is like a potato. So it's a sustenance food. It's like they call it the poor man's potato in many other countries because it's growing everywhere and you don't need to pay for it. You can just eat it. And it's actually widely available in Asian countries, India, Africa. This is just in the street everywhere. So it's one of the reasons why if you're online and you see mostly international people saying, "Hey, I've got tons of moringa," but then they're like, "But we have so much of it, we have a tough time selling it." Well, that's why the entire market is happening here because there's no moringa on the street, and America is buying billions of dollars worth of moringa every single year. So the whole world is trying to get their moringa to the USA. But thankfully, you guys are already here and we're already in the USA. So that way we can just capture those billions of dollars already that are coming, that are leaving the country. Right. So it's just because we have Darren here that has an operation in Liberia, he now has a direct connection with us because we get calls for tons and tons and tons of moringa every single day. We just got a call from a lady in Canada. She's like, "I need a ton." I'm like, "Hey, right now, I'm not really that guy." But we have farmers that are starting to come online with us that are learning our practices and learning how we do it to be able to bring it in a direct trade line, a relationship with us. So that way we can easily get that sold to whoever wants to buy it in bulk. A big part of the industry is, is trust. And so when I have 100 people calling me and asking, will I buy their moringa? I just don't trust anybody because I've said yes in the past. And what's happened is I say yes and they send me a sample and it's good. The sample is good. And I say, well, then go ahead and give me a pallet. Here's 5,000 bucks. Well, you know what comes in the mail? Crap, brown, smelly, stank, not fresh, old, devoid of color and just doesn't look good. And it's just like, man, I can't even use this for the chickens. It's like, man, what am I gonna do? So I've learned the hard way starting in the industry where I said, you know what, very early on, when I got started about 10 years ago, I just said, you know what? I'm not going to be the importer guy. I'm going to be the guy that has it here in the USA. So that's what we've kind of created here is a beautiful, beautiful community that are starting to grow and produce for us. And also people that are here, direct family line to be able to take this knowledge and implement how to do it, how to package it, how to grow it, how to ship it back to us to where we trust you and we trust your supply. So when we know when we get it from you, you've gone through the certifications that we put in place, you've read the book, you've been here, we know you. And so that way we're building that relationship. Business is built on handshakes, relationships, and trust, and that's what we're building here. So we've kind of gone through a little bit of like the drumstick you can get a drumstick in a year. Your tree can get a drumstick in a year, but that's kind of like a young, immature tree that doesn't have a big enough root system to really produce a baby that may produce a baby. So the seed may be a dud. A lot of the seeds that first come out, that tree is just kind of getting that engine going. And so it's like it's getting the accumulation of minerals. And so a lot of the drumsticks that come out the first year, they're not necessarily viable seeds, right? They're lighter color, they're whiter in color. And so what you want to do is just in the first 3 years, just cut your tree back, get your trees planted out. We were talking a little bit about spacing, where if you keep them really close together, it's like a fish in a tank. They're going to stay small. But if you get them spread out and they have a little bit more space, they'll be able to get big. So my philosophy is I'm not really worried about drumsticks until after the third year. So you guys have seen how in the field, we have kind of something where the ones that I just planted are really small and it's just sticks. We're just grabbing greens. Second year, you were asking, how big are these trees here? How old are these trees here? These are the 2-year-old trees. But then you could see a bigger difference as you moved further into the farm where I started the field 5 years ago, and those trees are massive. Well, a lot of those trees produced drumsticks this year. Matter of fact, when we harvested those trees, we cut a lot of the baby drumsticks off and we made soup and we ate them. So this is kind of a little bit of an example of how to design a farm. This isn't actually my farm here, but I can actually pull up a picture of my farm here. Actually, what I'll do is I'll pull up my book here. Were there any other questions off of so far what we've talked about so far? Oil machine, any questions with oil or with drumsticks or with design or importing or exporting? Let's see, we'll go into control path. Actually, it's at the end here. And I'll pull this up. This is my book here, which most people here have. We'll go to the back. Back chapter 10 here, you can see here. This is kind of like what's out in the field, right? So this one here, you can kind of see where I have the double row. Let me go ahead and share my screen for everybody here, so people can see up close. Here, share screen. Okay. So you guys can kind of see what we've done here on the property, where we're on 10-foot grid lines. So it's about 20. I even have mine at 24 on center. So I have it 24 on center. So it's mine are 6. I have like kind of like 6-foot grids. And then there's like, this is like a 12-foot, 12-foot. But you can kind of make it any way that you like, 10-foot, 12-foot, but mine are essentially 12 on centers. So this 24 feet from one to the other, right? I just made it that way because I wanted to be able to drive through the middle. When I first started out here, I was like, I want to be able to drive through here and kind of have the lazy man harvest where I can just drop it right into the van as we're harvesting, right? But as I realized, the density and what happens here on this particular property, it freezes. So the trees don't actually really fully ever get to a massive big size. We're constantly bringing them back. So I said, by the second year, I said, you know what? I learned from that. So what did I do? I wanted to create more density. Thank you. So I wanted to create more density. So if I were to go a little bit back down, let's see if we can go a little bit back down. That might be it for that. This goes into product. But essentially, this is the ultimate level. There's other levels. So you can see, you guys saw the tree out there, the rays of sunshine. That's the hedge area. Where we just kind of plant them real tight. We have one on the end that's big, but then all the sticks that go in those lines there are real tight around that tree. This is the raised bed area that you have in the front here, this intensive bed here, where we have the big tree on the end, 1,000 seedlings in the middle, and a fruit tree close to the banana. This is essentially those 10 raised beds there. But there's different levels, right? So you can just have it squared up. I like it a little bit staggered. And then you saw mine where I even opened the line up and I have a double row, right? So even on that 12-foot line, instead of having the tree just right in the middle, I extruded that out and I put the trees in a double line. So that way you can actually occupy the middle of the row and open it up so we could create a tunnel. I'm all about vision and occupying the space. That's kind of what I learned in school, was being able to create a much more visually appealing and more dense productive area. So what I decided to do was put a line in the middle of the orchard So in between the orchard, I said, you know what? I'm gonna make this even more dense. And this is kind of what Darren was asking was, how many trees do you have out there? And I said, I have 50,000 in the middle of each one of the orchard rows. So this visual is just kind of like how the farm started. And then I began to pull trees out that created kind of like the orchard. This is kind of like how I came up with the model. I just started developing this over the last couple of years of how I wanted to have my kind of like example home. You know how like when you go to a developer and you have like 5 samples of homes. This one that I have out here is the orchard with the intensive alley cropping is what I call it. It's an alley crop. So these are essentially, if you can visualize like this in between the orchard rows that I had showed before. See if I have more of a visual of that. It's essentially talking about how you might start really dense. Then in the year 2, you can pull a little bit more out, sell those trees. Then after year 3, pull those out, sell more trees, and you have a nice orchard that begin to start growing out from there. But you can throw hundreds of thousands of trees out there first, and then after the second year, you can pull some out, sell some, make some cash, or expand from your 1 acre out to the other 10 acres or 20 acres or 100 acres. But when somebody says, hey, I got 50 acres, I'm like, great, just start with 10 by 10. Then take that 10 by 10 and go out to the half acre or acre. Then take that acre and put that out in your 20 acres or 50 acres. So it's like a gradual way of going from just something, just a test to see if you can do it. Can you get 1,000 to go in a little 10 by 10 raised bed? Well, then if you can, next year, get that 10 by 10 raised bed and get that out into the half acre. And that's essentially how we transitioned out into a bigger and bigger space. It's called phasing. This is me out here at one of our neighbors' properties down the street from here where I took John Kohler. Actually, this is where I took John Kohler to that property down the street from here. So you can see, like, this is just on grid. I like to stagger it, right? So I like to give the tree some space. So I'll pull that one out, and I like to stagger them so that way I can have a nice big one, and they're not necessarily right on top of each other. This is me standing out there in the field just 2-3 years ago where you guys were, where the field was just full and lush. And what are we standing on? Multiple layers. That's just me and a rake, one man leveling out that whole field. Just every day, I was just taking piles of mulch and just leveling it out every day. It just took me about a year to level that whole field by hand, just mulching, taking mulch, telling them to come back here, dropping it and leveling it out. And we were standing on 2 feet of mulch out there in the field. Actually, out there in the field, one of the rows was just sticks, just a dense layer of sticks out there. I took 1 row and I just put 1 full layer of sticks. Those sticks sprouted and I was able to spread those out into other parts. So just start dense in a small space. Jesse's starting to do that in St. Pete. He's dropping lots of little trees out. Just wait. In 1 year from now, you're going to have thousands of trees that you can put in pots and you'll be able to start that nursery up like that. And this is essentially the model that I'm going with now. As you can see, we've got the big orchard trees. I actually have to make an edit on this and widen that out. And this actually becomes a double row. But I wanted you to see here, I put 50,000 in the middle. So I've got orchard, intensive, and then I actually split the farm in the middle. Remember how we walked down the middle of the farm? So I open it up so where this whole row is 10,000 seeds. Split it up. I've got 5,000, a walkway, and 5,000. So you guys could see the raised beds that were there. I pulled thousands of trees out over the last summer, and just shipped them big trees. You can see every day I'm pulling 20, 50 trees out. We're putting big trees in boxes and we're just shipping them right out. That was just a line of sticks. I went to go harvest a big place, and that's how I started, just by sticking the sticks down in the mulch. And that's out there in the hedge, in that hedge area that we were staying. And so we're inspired because I just got off the phone with my buddy in Sacramento, and he said, "Hey, I just got done with the farmer's market and I made $2,000 today." You kidding? No. Well, I put a half a pound of fresh greens in a bag for $5. And that's it. And he had two coolers, two big old coolers with him at a table. And today he made $2,000, $1,800.
Wow.
And like that, just by having the fresh greens on the table. Not quite like that. This is a microgreens example of how you can take the very tippy tips, right? Or you have the soft shoots. Every tree at any age can produce a microgreen. That's just the tippy tips. Right, that's the new stuff. And you can put that in a bag and sell that as a moringa microgreen off at any age tree, any size tree can always produce a microgreen, just the very tip, because you can eat the whole shoot. But then once the tree gets woody on it and those branches get pulled off and you strip those off, those end up just becoming the regular, just loose leaf or powder. But I was really inspired. So I think what we're going to do this week is we're going to hit the farmers market out here in Plant City on Wednesday. And we'll just see if we can post up with a bunch of fresh greens.
Do you ever go to the one in Lakeland?
I have been to the one in Lakeland, actually. That was a great one. We did that one when we first moved in, actually, in 2020, when we were getting going here. I had some people living here, live-in workers, that would go to the farmer's market for me while I started to get more focus in on the store and building the online community. By 2021, I was full steam online community, and now we're 4 years later, and we just got on the school app, and we have signed up over 1,000 people to our program in the last 4 years. So if you want to get a copy of the book, grab the book. This is what 1,000 looks like on a raised bed when they sprout. This is also where you can get a nice, real intensive amount of greens sprouted. That was right there in one of the raised beds when I first got the raised bed started. That's probably actually about 3,000, honestly. When I first started, like the first year, I put 3,000 seeds in each bed. I was like, okay, let me pull back a little bit. That's a little intense. That's a little like they get yellowed out and they're real tight. They end up shriveling up because there's too much competition. I was able to get a good harvest, right? But then they were so tight that a lot of them just naturally just died back after that first harvest. And I realized, you know what? I'll thin it. I'll keep it at about 1,000 per 10 foot by 4 or 5 foot. You can kind of see those beds out.
One of those bags right there.
This is in the book. This is how we talked about how this is essentially the seeds. This is literally just throwing the seeds on the raised bed. So.
When you're just throwing the seeds out there, have you done anything to those seeds?
Yes, actually.
You get that bag of seeds right there.
Yes, I soak them overnight in the fertilizer, in the biostimulant. So I'll take the biostimulant and I'll soak the seeds overnight. I have a video where I took a huge bin, like a big bin that we have, and I just dumped the fertilizer in there, and I soaked all 50,000 seeds for at least 24 hours in this. And that's why in the starter kits and in the gift boxes, or in the starter kits and the bio boxes right now, you can get the fertilizer with the powder and the extract. So when I was planting those trees out in the field, I was filling the hole with powder. The powder is what? Full of protein and vitamins and minerals and enzymes. So I just dumped some powder in each hole. And then I set it and forget it. And then 2 weeks later, I came back and I watered them in with the extract, with the liquid extract. You can also take the powder, any moringa powder, even just this powder right here, and dump that in a 30-gallon bucket of water or a trash can or a 55-gallon drum. Just dump any powder in the water and let that simmer and settle for a day. You can put a bubbler in that. You can put a little bit of soil in that and introduce some native microorganisms. Bubble that for 24, 48, I like to do 72 hours. You can put a little molasses in there because all of the microorganisms that are in the soil that you throw in that batch are gonna multiply and feed off of just a tablespoon or two of molasses in that. And that's what you call a fermented plant juice, an FPJ. And that's essentially what this biostimulant is a fermented plant juice. But it just goes through a little bit more of a process. It's in a large vat that we make at a USDA certified organic facility in Nicaragua. One of our members has 1,000 acres in Nicaragua. And he makes it at his facility there. And he designed and built all the machines. He's a industrial engineer. And so he went ahead and developed this particular biostimulant just for us to be able to get this to the market. And it's been tested, vigorously tested. He actually just got back from Kenya, and he was there establishing an orphanage and a food forest for this orphanage. And he's establishing a laboratory there in Kenya to make the biostimulant under contract, because he has a patent on it. So that way that process is signed and sealed and protected, because it's like Coca-Cola, this is a multi-billion dollar a year industry here. So he's got that facility under contract to say, hey, keep this between us. So that way he can also create a business out of it and essentially receive a small royalty off of every batch that they make. So he's protecting his legacy and protecting himself in that way. But also he's very, very giving with this information. Once you go under contract with him, he's very open with what and how to make it. So that's what I'm really excited about. We're going to be bringing that here, and we're going to be making it here on site here very soon. We're raising a few more $1,000. We need $27,000 remaining for our farm fund to help finish construction of our biostimulant facility here that we're going to begin to make. So we've already raised what, 73,000, and we just have 27,000 remaining for our farm fund to begin establishing that biostimulant facility. Everything that you see here today was from the first 70K, the first 63K or so, to see what you see here. The store, helping develop, getting the materials, getting the machines, being able to clear the space and all the labor that's needed. We raised that over the last 10, 11 months in order to get where we are today, to now say, okay, all we have left is to get the container ship and the materials and the equipment, industrial equipment, to make the fertilizer, the biostimulant right here on site. So we're excited about that. Great. Next up, we talked a little bit about design. We talked about big trees. We talked about fresh greens. Some of the members here were saying how amazing medically Moringa has helped them with their blood sugar, blood pressure, reducing medications, especially for like, say, blood or even fatty liver, things like that, helping to cleanse and detox. We mentioned something about fasting, and somebody said that their brother had to end the fast because he was getting stones. He was getting stones, right? And so one of the things that I mentioned as a liver gallbladder flush, kind of to prep your body from having stones during a fast, believe it or not, it sounds crazy. Get a cup of Epsom salt. I did this. Take a cup of Epsom salt, no flavor, just magnesium sulfate, right? And just put some water in it, warm water in it, stir that up. Then take a cup of olive oil or moringa oil, whichever, just oil, right? Some original, nice, virgin, extra virgin olive oil. Chug that Epsom salt water and then chug that oil. And you will have an explosive session where you cleanse and detox all of your kidney stones at one time. So what I did was I actually went to the bathtub because it was extremely explosive, and I was able to actually see and feel all of the hard substances that were deep in the gallbladder and in the liver. And ever since I did about 2 of those sessions, and after fasting, of course, I was able to essentially heal and cleanse and detox my body to where I don't have any problem going to the bathroom. Of course, I've maintained a healthy diet by staying more plant-based, and more recently this last year, we went gluten-free. We always kind of really try to maintain a sugar-free as much as we can, soy-free. I don't really eat any soy. If we have tofu, I'll do like the fava bean or things like that. And if we do have beans, we stick to the very small, miniature, small beans with very little starch. It really just helps to keep that body really working well. Remember, our body's like a car engine, and actually, believe it or not, the less you eat, the longer you live. So, and cleansing and detoxing is going to help keep your body light, fresh, and cognizant is going to be the biggest, most important thing as we move into, this time where everywhere you turn around, there's, so much advertising and marketing for food. It's not even real. So, so thanks everybody for just really sharing your health journey with us. We have members here that have been able to cut back their intake on medicine. Of course, talking with the doctor, working with the doctor, actually having endless counts of stories where they're coming in, people are going into the doctor saying, because the doctor's like, what have you done differently? What are you doing new? And everybody that's in our circle is just saying, only Moringa. And then the doctors are like, what's Moringa? So it's nice to see that we're actually, incorporating herbal remedies, bringing it back to old school ways. To the new age doctors are like, what did you do here? Well, what's the chemical compound of that? Well, did you know that the number one ingredient in Viagra and Midol is Moringa?
Wow.
Oh, well, it's because every time I go to the farmer's market, and usually if I see an Indian guy or an African guy out there, he'll come up to me. Usually they came to this country, but they're like, hey, we know that Moringa, that's good for, right? All the old guys will come up and be like, you know what that's good for? And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, just ask my girlfriend. So you have no problems with that, right? You have lots of circulation. So older men who are struggling with erectile dysfunction or blood flow issues, they're coming up like, that Moringa saved me, right? Because it's good for blood circulation. It helps with that. Well, go figure. It's the number one ingredient in Viagra. And also with the blood flow of the brain, like if you're getting a headache, right? It's because you either have a inflow of blood or you have something clogging the brain, right? And so thinning out the blood. Moringa doesn't necessarily thin the blood. It just helps to increase the oxygen level and the flow of movement in the blood. It helps to create more white blood cells. It helps to rejuvenate and replace the red blood cells even faster. And that's really what inspired me to stick with Moringa since day one, because people ask me a lot of times, how did you hear about Moringa? And I say, well, from Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi was my gateway into learning about herbs and Moringa. And it's been a great journey. Thankfully, thanks to Dr. Sebi and Dr. Andreas Moritz, which is the guy that told me about the liver gallbladder flush. You can look him up. They're both no longer with us because they were those pioneer herbalists that taught the secrets to staying healthy. And for some reason, they're no longer here. That's why I said, just be careful. Don't mention my name anywhere. If anybody doctors or say anything, don't say you got it from me. Don't put my name in there, right? Right? Don't say anything like that. And that's why this is just for entertainment purposes. We'll do a little jig, say this is a little dance. This ain't real. This ain't even real. This is just a show. We're just making all this up. This is just fake news. Anything, whatever everybody's saying, this is just fun. I don't even know what I'm saying yet. Okay. So thanks a lot for sharing your stories, because the members here are just really impressed with the broad spectrum of things that this amazing plant can do, from hair. Sharon was here where she was like, yeah, my hair was thinning, and she's like, feel this. I'm like, wow, you actually have a full head of hair. It's real thick. It's beautiful, and it's because she attributes that to the oil and using the oil and also cleansing and detoxing the skin and the body with Moringa. It's antifungal, antimicrobial, anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, and it has the ability to go not only on the outside, but also go deep within the core and the cells of your body. So, one of the things that you can do here to help a really deep cleanse, we have members here that are getting the seed capsules. We're asking about a parasite cleanse, using that with a binder like charcoal, or even like black walnut hulls. I have some other things up here like wormwood that we use, and we make a parasite cleanse with moringa. So experiment with the white seed capsules, the seed powder capsules as a cleanser and a detoxer. I use those to help with really flushing and cleansing out the colon. And of course, I take both. I take 2 capsules of green and 2 capsules of white every single day myself, and it helps with energy and the oils for the hair and the skin, and the minerals, the protein. One of the reasons why you don't see moringa in the store is because it's so high in protein that it breaks down really fast. The amino acids that are in moringa, we know that are complete. It's a complete protein. So it has 9 essential, 9 non-essential. And what that does is it causes it to break down really fast. So you can't really keep it fresh, wet on the shelf. And that's why we'll hit the farmer's market and we'll sell out that fresh green. Like I said, he made $1,800 today, because where else can you get fresh moringa greens? Right. And so he's like inspiring me. So we're gonna get out to the market and have a great time. So we'll see you here, probably St. Pete market coming to you soon. We'll probably get out maybe to the Lakeland market sometime this season. This is market season right now. We have 8 to 12 to 16 weeks really here in Florida where you can change your life if you just get yourself to a market, set up a table. And what's the name of your table? Buy 2, get 1 free. Yeah. That's all it is. Just what are you selling? It's just buy 2, get 1 free. Whatever you get 2, you get 1 free. That's the name of your booth. That's the name of your table. And that's going to bring you a thing. And then you're also going to do this here, and you're going to go live like I have here. You're just going to have your phone set up with a nice little microphone. So that way you can just go live, hook that link to your website, which we're going to talk next. We're going to talk more about digital marketing and things that we can do to get online. So that way you can connect that live with a cha-ching. So that way, if it's a slow day at the market and you only make 18, you can still make another 18 online. You know what I'm saying? Or even if you only make 200 or 300 at the market, you can still hit another couple of hundred online. And so that's where we have a little bit of both, and that's where we're teaching both methods. And so I really appreciate you guys for hanging with us, and we'll go ahead and move to the next workshop. If you guys don't have any questions before we go? We're doing good, right? We're hitting it. Good. I think it's pumpkin pie time. Yeah. Can somebody throw me a pumpkin? Can you throw me a pumpkin? Go ahead. Purple. Come on, linebacker. Come on, throw me that. Throw me the pumpkin there. Uh-oh. Yeah. All right. So we got pumpkin pie coming. We're out here. We're expanding the field here. Happy Halloween, happy holidays. We're going into the holiday season. I started with 1 pumpkin. Wow. 1 pumpkin. I planted 1 pumpkin's worth of seeds out here, and we ended up getting hundreds of pumpkins this year. We're about to snack on some fresh pumpkin pie. We also harvested some cassava, so we've got some cassava there, some juca, chips, and other snacks, fresh from the field, fresh from the farm. So let me see if there's any questions here and make sure we're good. Otherwise, we will move to the next session. All right, everything is good. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll be back next Saturday for another episode of the Grow Moringa podcast. Peace and love. Woo! Yeah! Thanks a lot. All right. Peace out. Thanks.